bonding authority within the state.
So a private entity could approach a government
Absolutely.
partner about partnering up and going for this bond money.
Absolutely. Yes.
I have a process question. Someone might have attempted to touch on it, if this is a repeat, I'm sorry. But let's say we have a family that's just above the poverty level, and they want to insulate their home and put it in the windows. How does that family go about approaching a government entity to find out how they can get money to do that?
I mean, your term of just above would kick them out of the free weatherization service. That would be one answer. I mean,
Well,
but if they're within that 200%, which is the number now, you have to go through your community action agency. And I do recommend if you go, there's a link. This is the easy thing to do. Go to the Department of Energy, go to the weatherization page, and you can break. It has a state, it has a map of the U.S. You click on South Carolina, it will take you to that list of each county who that person is.
so it has to go through an agency.
Well, if you're trying to qualify for the free funding, yes.
And the 200% is ballparked at about $44,000 for a family of 4.
Yes.
So all this money you talked about today has nothing to do with this Sanford and legislature issue.
No, this has nothing to do with, I mean, I haven't been touching any state funding here at all. It's all federal stuff.
He can't mess with this.
That's right. He signs his letters, he wants it, it's coming in. Yes.
And in addition, I think the Savannah Riverside is getting 1.6 billion of the stimulus in South Carolina for, well, it's not all energy efficiency, but.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a host of programs.
That's exactly right. You're right. Did you have another question?
Yeah, you said there was an opportunity for the Treasury to make a grant for that 30% in lieu of the tax credits.
Yes.
Is that just when you file your forms at the end of the year, you say, I want it sent to me?
No, I mean, you wouldn't, no. I don't think anyone would wait that long. Because typically, if you were to file for that tax credit, if you were to file for a tax credit, you do that form when you're filing taxes. But if you're doing a project and you don't want the tax credit, but you want a grant, there will be an application. The Department of Energy will actually, the authority was given to Treasury, but the Department of Energy will actually be taking the application. And you will do that during your project development stage. And there'll be a point in time where they will fund that 30% back to you. I don't know if it's going to be upon completion or 90% completion or it's 90 days after, but there will be a process when that money comes back.
Ben, can you give some examples of types of uses of that particular program?
Yeah,
What
I
might a
mean,
company do?
Well, it's a tax credit. So let's say you want to, just perfect example, you want to put your commercial building, you want to put a 10 kW solar system on top of your roof. So you run the finances, you factor in, I don't think there's state incentives, or if there's any state or utility incentives, and then federal incentives. So you're going to run it and look at all these opportunities, and these are the costs. And you're going to factor in a 30% refund for that project cost. So at the end of the day, the money out of pocket after incentives, after whatever it may be, and you subtract 30% would be your cost.
When you're running that cost analysis, how do you know that you're going to get it? Let's say there's a certain pool that's available for businesses. There's no pool. You're going to get it.
There's no cap. Yes, you get it.
100%.
100%. The federal, I mean, we had this issue. I mean, we passed similar legislation in Georgia last year to allow the tax credit. We had to put caps on it, so we only have X amount of money.
Right.
So you take a risk if you do a project in Georgia. You may or may not get the money, but you don't take a risk on the federal side because there is no cap on the money. It's no commitment. Yes.
A nonprofit such as a state university would not obviously take advantage of the tax credit. Are they eligible to get the 30%?
They're not. They're still not eligible. No, still not. But there are ways for, if you want to do a project and take advantage of that 30%, there are ways to structure it so that someone else can take advantage of it.
Going back to the free home thing for poverty level, you said 200%. What does that actually mean? Does that mean they're raising the level of what they're defining as poverty
Yes.
to cover that much more income?
Yes.
By 200%?
Yes. And is it 40?
That's what I keep hearing. Ballpark is 44,000 for a family of 4.
Does anyone know whether the Greenville County School District applied for?
Their SEP,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I'm sure. If you do go to the south, you will see that they've been allocated X amount of dollars for form they have to fill out.
Yeah. Although I don't think they've had their deadline yet, but the Energy Office said if there are any schools that we haven't heard from, we're going to contact them.
Yeah, the deadline, I believe, is June 25th.
Yeah.
They still got some time. Yes.
How's that family of 4 who really needs it going to find out about it?
Good question.
Who's telling them that this is an opportunity that's available?
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
That's where you get your grant for,
Yeah, the community action agencies are largely responsible for getting that word out. And so how effective they are at that, we're shouting it every chance we can. But it's ultimately the money is in the control of the community action agencies. So.
And I think I also saw there that there was money available, and I'm not sure, all these pots of money, confusing, but for a public education campaign. Is that something like we're doing here today?
Certainly, I mean, it could be, yes. I mean, it's interesting how, and that is specified in this bonding capacity for local or state government, that you can include a public education campaign.
And could that be used to then also get to all the people that are at this poverty level, to make sure that they contact their local?
It could, if someone is willing to make that investment to get
Right.
zero interest financing for a public education. I mean, I think it'd be part of a larger
Certainly.
effort.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
What controls are on the grants and the projects that ensure that there is some benefit to the taxpayers who are ultimately going to provide this money, that there's actually some benefit gained from these projects?
Yeah, well, I mean, the requirements back to the Department of Energy are jobs created and energy saved. And those are the only two pieces that are attached right now. Other than what I told you in the beginning, building codes and utility programs, it's unconditional, except for a few pieces.
Energy saved for public buildings theoretically reduces public operating costs, which benefits the taxpayer that way.
But they're handing out money for a project, who then comes back to see that there's a 20% energy benefit from it?
So that actually is a really excellent question, because I think every state is going to be scrutinized to their plan, whether they did it or didn't do it. But there's nothing in it that says you need to go back and measure and verify. And that's going to be up to the states to go and do some kind of measurement and verification. You can't do everything. They're going to have to take a select sample and go do it. An example, I'll tell you what's in Georgia on the weatherization program. They, two things. They're bringing in assistance for training so that there's a consistent training to those providing the service. And secondly, they're bringing in someone to monitor the whole program, and that entity is required to go and actually verify 10% of the homes to make sure that they are being done to program standard.
See, those metrics are usually built into the grants and things as well. I mean, there's certain accountability on the back end when you receive the grant, as well as administrative documentation.
You mentioned that there were requirements, I believe what you said was that in order for the state to accept the portion of money that they're